An Android app is a collection of activities, one or more activities. The activity, as it's created, it goes through certain phases or states. So at each state, you can monitor the activity by overriding certain method. So let's take a look at the life cycle of an activity. From Google search, I used the keywords Android activity life cycle. First one is from Google documentation. So here you can read this document to understand the activity life cycle. Let me show you the diagram. This diagram shows which method is called by the Android system on your activity. So as activity is first launched, here, the very first method called is onCreate method. So far, we have put things to do in this onCreate method. So it's very similar to constructor if it's just a regular class. So very first one and onCreate is called, and then right after that onStart is called, and then onResume, then activity is now running. So something the app is displaying on the screen, it's on running state. But before it reaches a running state, it goes through onCreate, onStart, and onResume. And then if you launch some other activity, so the current activity is hidden from the screen, then it goes through a sequence of a method called first on pause and on stopped. So on stopped method is when the activity is behind the screen. It's not on the top activity on the device. So at this moment, if you make the activity forward, then it goes to on restart, on start, on resume, and then goes back to the running state. But on activity on stop method, which means that activity is not the top on the window, it's hidden from other activity. Then if the activity is gets killed, then it's on destroy is called, and then activities are completely shut down. So that's the sequence of methods invoked as activity goes through the life cycle. So we can take a look at the call sequence by creating an app for that. So let's create an app. So that's activity life cycle. Then eventually we are going to develop an app which requires a background task. So we need to understand the activity life cycle actually to create an app that uses a background task. So in this app, we are going to display some message on logcat window to see how those sequences are made as an app or activity goes through its corresponding life cycle. The project is being created. So while I develop code, let me start the emulator. So here is icon for that, or you can launch it from tools and an AVD manager. So let me have this one started. So the very first onCreate is called. So here, let me give a log message. Give some tag onCreate. It's there. Then log, Alt Enter. I need to import that. And then tag string is a const tag life cycle. when app is just created or when activity is just started, the first one is on create and then on start is called. So we can override to do something when on start method is called as override function on start. So we need to call it on start method in its parent class super, just to do that always, and then let's give some message here on start. Right. After on start, on resume will be called override fun on resume. So let me copy this one on resume. Let me correct cases. So when on resume is called, now the app is on running state. Let me show you this picture again. On create, on start, on resume. Now app is running. When the app is hidden by another, here activity is hidden by another activity, so it goes into backgrounds. Then on pause and on stop will be called. Override on pause on pause, and then on stop will be called. But when the activity is brought into the foreground from on ground, on restart, on start, on resume, and activities running, so on start will be called override function on restart. Restart. Then one more method we didn't override is on destroy, or from on stop when activity gets killed, on destroy will be called. Override function on destroy is called destroy. Now let's test it on the device. Here. So let me open logcat window, make it bigger. Then here let's filter the message by this string. Edit, just give life cycle. It's not installed yet, so we'll see shortly. As the app is launched, the activity gets started. Then it goes through on create, on start, on resume. If I show you the document again, as activities launched, on create, on start, on resume is called. Now activity is in running state. I can put this activity on a background by pressing the home button. Then home app becomes a top of the device. Then as you can see, on pause and on stop, those two methods are called on pause and on stop. So that is on pause and on stop. So currently the app I just created as a demo is in the background, so I can bring it on the foreground by pressing the square button. If I press square button, I can see all the app currently on a background. So this is the one. So I just click anywhere inside this image, then it's brought forward. Then on restart, on start, on resume are called in sequence. So here, from on stop, on restart, on start, on resume, and then activities on running state. So let me put this app on the background again. Then on pause, on stop is there. So currently the app is on stop in foreground. Let me bring it forward again. Then restart, start, resume is there. At this moment, if I press the back button, the app is killed, meaning that activity gets killed as well. So currently it's running. If I press the back button, then what goes through is a pause, stop, and finally destroyed. So from this diagram, app was running, and on pause, on stop, and on destroy, activities finally gets killed. So this is the demonstration of activity life cycle. And then in certain cases, you may need to do some actions on when app is on start or on stop and the like. Depending on the app is on the foreground and background, you want to do some proper actions for that. Then you need to override the corresponding method. In the later session, we are going to show how to utilize those activity life cycles.